Alright, time to react to another hot take. If you want to submit a hot take, my Patreon is patreon.com/prosd. It's $1 a month. There's a link down there. And maybe I'll pick one of your hot takes for a video. So this one says, from Chronomagi, I think Frieren is an extremely slow, boring, and overrated anime that only gets better when it relies on a cliche and becomes a tournament arc. It's like the creator had a cool concept but didn't really know what to do with it, so they turned it into generic shonen slop. It also has the OPM problem, where there's no tension because the main character is so OP and can instantly solve most problems, so they keep cutting to weaker, cookie-cutter characters to add any drama. The emotional moments flashing back to the hero don't feel earned because we barely know anything about the guy or spend much time with him while he was alive, so it makes it really hard to care. I think there's a lot to tackle here. First off, I mean, Frieren got so much critical praise. It soared at #1 on like My Anime List and all these websites. So inevitably, when a show gets this much praise and popularity, then yes, you're gonna have. A show. I don't think there's a show out there that can be for everybody. So some people are gonna watch it and go, What's the big deal?" And I'm someone who loves Frieren. I really like the manga, and I love the anime. The anime for me it just made the manga even better. So let's talk about it. So Frieren being extremely slow and boring, and then it only gets better when it becomes a tournament arc. I 100% disagree. But really it just depends on what you are looking for. Also, I don't want to presume your age. I don't know how old you are, but I think in general, younger viewers, I'm not saying I don't want to generalize, all people who think this way are younger. But if I were watching Frieren when I was like younger, I think maybe I would think it was less interesting. I don't know. But I am older, and for me, the tone of Frieren, just the melancholy wistfulness of time passing by, really hits me hard. And so when there are episodes where they're just living their lives, like there's one where they're just snowed in and they have to just kind of pass through the whole winter. To me, that's a really beautiful episode. And I think the anime is actually better than the manga in depicting these scenes. In the manga, those scenes were okay for me. But in the anime, with the animation, the music, the pacing, I was really swept by those long sequences of passing time. So, I don't know, for me, Frieren is a show where almost every episode I was crying. Like, it really, really got to me. Just like the melancholy regrets of like, she should have enjoyed her time more with the party, But with that said, also taking strides to make sure she, embraces the present. To me, when I heard the concept of, it's an elf who's in an adventuring party, and then she outlives pretty much all her party members, to me, I was already like, I'm in. Now, it's funny about this tournament arc at the end of Season 1, and I have not seen any of Season 2 yet, but I have read quite a bit of the manga. In the manga, the tournament arc for me was fine. I wasn't that into it. And yet the anime, maybe just watching it in motion, and maybe because I was even more attached to Frieren and Co., I was more into it, for sure. With that said, which do I prefer? The tournament arc, or not tournament arc, but the wizard exam, or the just like slice of life slow beats? Those episodes are my favorite. Whenever Frieren is like fighting a demon, that's where it's less interesting for me. But I think some viewers want that. They want that sakuga. They want that action. To me, that's not what appeals to me about Frieren at all. It's about the characters and their relationships and, the memories and stuff. So, yeah. So, going into this comment about the One Punch Man problem where there's no tension because the main character is so OP, to me, that's not what at least the first season of Frieren is about. It's not about the tension in the fights. Like, and One Punch Man is the same thing. Like, One Punch Man, at least in that first season, for One Punch Man, it's comedy. It's comedy and, like, just the malaise of being too strong. That is the point. They're not supposed to be tense fights. So if you're watching One Punch Man expecting that... Now, I will say, a common complaint, and one I don't necessarily disagree with One Punch Man, is that as it goes on, because I read quite a bit of it past the first season, when the story starts to get a little more serious, then I'm like, I'm less into this. I was into this when it was a comedy, but now you're trying to kind of make it actually a plot-driven thing, and a lot of these characters were just kind of jokes, and so I eventually fell off of One Punch Man because I was like, I was here for the comedy. I'm not really here for, like, this serious plot. And honestly, I will be completely honest, that's where I fell off of Frieren as well, the manga. Frieren, the manga, I won't say any spoilers, but as it went on, it became more about the world building and like all this stuff, and then there were just parts where like Frieren is barely there, and I'm like, I don't give a shit about any of this. Like, it was, to me, there'd be, because I was reading them volume by volume, and there would be a volume where I'm like, where the fuck is Frieren? Like, I don't care about this stuff. I also think the demons themselves, 95% of them, it's disappointing to me that they are intentionally shallow. They are just evil. And I know that there's stuff later on that kind of plays with that a little bit, but to me, that's always been what kind of bothered me about Frieren's fights, is that the demons felt too, it was too black and white. It was like, they're evil, kill them. That's not interesting to me. And so, Frieren being able to just, like, end fights or whatever, it didn't bother me, because there was a part of it that was kind of funny, right? But also, to me, it's not really about the action stuff. It's about the relationship stuff and the slice of life stuff. Now, I liked the tournament arc in the anime more, so I'm hoping that as Frieren continues to go and gets to the stuff that I wasn't into, that, one, I think it'll be faster, I think when you're reading it and, like, a whole volume is dedicated to something you don't care about, it's kind of a drag. But when you're watching it and it's just, like, a few episodes of, like, a 13-episode chunk, then it doesn't feel like it drags as much. So I'm still excited to watch more Frieren, because the anime already sold me on parts I was kind of lukewarm on anyway. And then finally, the emotional moments flashing back to Himmel don't feel earned because we didn't spend time with him while he was alive. To me, it's one of the most interesting parts of Frieren. I actually love that Himmel, we meet him when he's old, and then he dies. But you're discovering all these moments with him in her memories, and I feel like I've never really seen a character like that, where we get to know them through the past as opposed to what we experience with them in the present. I love that shit. And, like, yeah, Himmel might be a little too nice, but there are aspects of him we see, he's like kind of egotistical, and he's he was also so clearly in love with Frieren, like, which really tugs my heartstrings. Like, to me, that's kind of like what life is about, right? Is that when we die, all we can hope for is that the impact we had on other people, carries with them, and that our impact is, carried forth even after we pass away. And seeing all the stuff that Himmel did for other people, all these villagers he helped, his party members he touched, to me, it's really emotional. It's emotional seeing the lasting effects of his goodness, and it's inspiring. To me, it goes, man, I should try to be more positive and be good. Like, even if, listen, most of us, we're not going to have like statues erected of us or do these world changing things. But I do love the message of like just being good for others will have an impact. I do believe that. Will we be remembered forever? No. But that's not really the point of it. You're not supposed to do that for the point of that. But it's nice to see people remembering, someone who was, kind to them. So I disagree with that last part. I mean, for me, I love those moments. And I wish, every time there's a battle going on, I'm like, man, I wish there was more either flashbacks or time being spent with the party. I don't really care about this. But anyway, Frieren's not going to be for everybody. If you want an action-driven show, that's not what it's really about. And if you go into that with those kinds of expectations, like it's going to be a fantasy action show, you'll get that in bits, but that's not what it's about. It's really about the passing of time. And again, I don't presume to know how old you are, but for anyone watching this, if you're young and think Frieren is boring, come back to it. Come back to it like, I don't know, 10 years from now, or something like that. I think it'll hit different. There are definitely shows, and that's part of the fun of watching stuff as I grow older, is there are shows where I watched it when I was younger, I came back to it, and I was like, I'm at the right age for this now. Or I'll watch something now and go, I think 10 years ago I would have loved this. Now it just is fine for me. I don't know. We all change as we grow older, hopefully mature. And your tastes change, your emotions change, what, your life experiences add up. And I think it's something that can be revisited later, in the fiction or the art that we consume. It'll hit you different at different ages. Anyway, that was my Frieren TED Talk. Thank you for watching. You should watch Frieren. I think it's great. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.